Esther, chapter 5. Now it came to pass on the third day that Esther put on her royal apparel and stood in the inner court of the king's house over against the king's house. And the king sat upon his royal throne in the royal house over against the gate of the house. And it was so, when the king saw Esther the queen standing in the court, that she obtained favor in his sight. And the king held out to Esther the golden scepter that was in his hand. So Esther drew near and touched the top of the scepter. Then said the king unto her,
What wilt thou, Queen Esther, and what is thy request? It shall be even given thee to the half of the kingdom.
And Esther answered,
If it seem good unto the king, let the king and Haman come this day unto the banquet that I have prepared for him.
Then the king said,
Cause Haman to make haste, that he may do as Esther hath said.
So the king and Haman came to the banquet that Esther had prepared. And the king said unto Esther at the banquet of wine,
What is thy petition? And it shall be granted thee. And what is thy request? Even to the half of the kingdom it shall be performed.
Then answered Esther and said,
My petition and my request is, if I have found favor in the sight of the king, and if it please the king to grant my petition and to perform my request, let the king and Haman come to the banquet that I shall prepare for them, and I will do tomorrow as the king hath said.
Then went Haman forth that day joyful and with a glad heart. But when Haman saw Mordecai in the king's gate, that he stood not up nor moved for him, he was full of indignation against Mordecai. Nevertheless, Haman refrained himself. And when he came home, he sent and called for his friends and Zeresh his wife. And Haman told them of the glory of his riches and the multitude of his children and all the things wherein the king had promoted him, and how he had advanced him above the princes and servants of the king. Haman said, moreover,
Yea, Esther the queen did let no man come in with the king unto the banquet that she had prepared, but myself. And tomorrow am I invited unto her also with the king. Yet all this availeth me nothing, so long as I see Mordecai the Jew sitting at the king's gate.
Then said Zeresh his wife and all his friends unto him,
Let a gallows be made of 50 cubits high, and tomorrow speak thou unto the king, that Mordecai may be hanged thereon. Then go thou in merrily with the king unto the banquet.
And the thing pleased Haman, and he caused the gallows to be made. Esther, chapter 6. On that night could not the king sleep, and he commanded to bring the book of records of the Chronicles, and they were read before the king. And it was found written that Mordecai had told of Bigthana and Teresh, two of the king's chamberlains, the keepers of the door, who sought to lay hand on the king Ahasuerus. And the king said,
What honor and dignity hath been done to Mordecai for this?
Then said the king's servants that ministered unto him,
There is nothing done for him.
And the king said,
Who is in the court?
Now Haman was come into the outward court of the king's house to speak unto the king to hang Mordecai on the gallows that he had prepared for him. And the king's servant said unto him,
Behold, Haman standeth in the court.
And the king said,
Let him come in.
So Haman came in, and the king said unto him,
What shall be done unto the man whom the king delighteth to honor?
Now Haman thought in his heart,
To whom would the king delight to do honor more than to myself?
And Haman answered the king,
For the man whom the king delighteth to honor, let the royal apparel be brought which the king useth to wear, and the horse that the king rideth upon, and the crown royal which is set upon his head. And let this apparel and horse be delivered to the hand of one of the king's most noble princes, that they may array the man withal whom the king delighteth to honor, and bring him on horseback through the street of the city, and proclaim before him, Thus shall it be done to the man whom the king delighteth to honor.
Then the king said to Haman,
Make haste, and take the apparel and the horse as thou hast said, and do even so to Mordecai the Jew that sitteth at the king's gate. Let nothing fail of all that thou hast spoken.
Then took Haman the apparel and the horse, and arrayed Mordecai, and brought him on horseback through the street of the city, and proclaimed before him,
Thus shall it be done unto the man whom the king delighteth to honor.
And Mordecai came again to the king's gate. But Haman hasted to his house mourning and having his head covered. And Haman told Zeresh his wife and all his friends everything that had befallen him. Then said his wise men and Zeresh his wife unto him,
If Mordecai be of the seed of the Jews, before whom thou hast begun to fall, thou shalt not prevail against him, but shalt surely fall before him.
And while they were yet talking with him, came the king's chamberlains, and hasted to bring Haman unto the banquet that Esther had prepared.
Psalm 60. To the chief musician upon Shushan-Edith, Miktam of David to teach, when he strove with Aram-Naharaim and with Aram-Zobah, when Joab returned and smote of Edom in the valley of Salt 12,000.
O God, thou hast cast us off. Thou hast scattered us. Thou hast been displeased. O turn thyself to us again. Thou hast made the earth to tremble. Thou hast broken it. Heal the breaches thereof, for it shaketh. Thou hast showed thy people hard things. Thou hast made us to drink the wine of astonishment. Thou hast given a banner to them that fear thee, that it may be displayed because of the truth. Selah. That thy beloved may be delivered. Save with thy right hand, and hear me. God hath spoken in his holiness.
I will rejoice. I will divide Shechem and mete out the valley of Succoth. Gilead is mine, and Manasseh is mine. Ephraim also is the strength of mine head. Judah is my lawgiver. Moab is my washpot. Over Edom will I cast out my shoe. Philistia, triumph thou because of me.
Who will bring me into the strong city? Who will lead me into Edom? Wilt not thou, O God, which hadst cast us off? And thou, O God, which didst not go out with our armies? Give us help from trouble, for vain is the help of man. Through God we shall do valiantly, for he it is that shall tread down our enemies.
Proverbs chapter 13.
A wise son heareth his father's instruction,
but a scorner heareth not rebuke.
A man shall eat good by the fruit of his mouth,
but the soul of the transgressors shall eat violence.
He that keepeth his mouth keepeth his life,
but he that openeth wide his lips shall have destruction. The soul of the sluggard desireth, and hath nothing.
But the soul of the diligent shall be made fat. A righteous man hateth lying,
but a wicked man is loathsome, and cometh to shame.
Righteousness keepeth him that is upright in the way,
but wickedness overthroweth the sinner. There is that maketh himself rich, yet hath nothing.
There is that maketh himself poor, yet hath great riches.
The ransom of a man's life are his riches, but the poor heareth not rebuke.
The light of the righteous rejoiceth,
but the lamp of the wicked shall be put out. Only by pride cometh contention,
but with the well-advised is wisdom.
Wealth gotten by vanity shall be diminished,
but he that gathereth by labor shall increase.
Hope deferred maketh the heart sick.
But when the desire cometh, it is a tree of life.
Whoso despiseth the word shall be destroyed.
But he that feareth the commandment shall be rewarded. The law of the wise is a fountain of life, to depart from the snares of death. Good understanding giveth favor.
But the way of transgressors is hard.
Every prudent man dealeth with knowledge.
But a fool layeth open his folly. A wicked messenger falleth into mischief.
But a faithful ambassador is health.
Poverty and shame shall be to him that refuseth instruction.
But he that regardeth reproof shall be honored. The desire accomplished is sweet to the soul.
But it is abomination to fools to depart from evil.
He that walketh with wise men shall be wise.
But a companion of fools shall be destroyed. Evil pursueth sinners.
But to the righteous good shall be repaid. A good man leaveth an inheritance to his children's children, and the wealth of the sinner is laid up for the just.
Much food is in the tillage of the poor, but there is that is destroyed for want of judgment. He that spareth his rod hateth his son.
But he that loveth him chasteneth him betimes. The righteous eateth to the satisfying of his soul.
But the belly of the wicked shall want.
Mark 7. Then the Pharisees and some of the scribes came together to him, having come from Jerusalem. Now when they saw some of his disciples eat bread with defiled, that is, with unwashed hands, they found fault. For the Pharisees and all the Jews do not eat unless they wash their hands in a special way, holding the tradition of the elders. When they come from the marketplace, they do not eat unless they wash. And there are many other things which they have received and hold, like the washing of cups, pitchers, copper vessels, and couches. Then the Pharisees and scribes asked him, Why do your disciples not walk according to the tradition of the elders, but eat bread with unwashed hands? He answered and said to them,
Well did Isaiah prophesy of you hypocrites, as it is written, This people honors me with their lips, but their heart is far from me. And in vain they worship me, teaching as doctrines the commandments of men. For laying aside the commandment of God, you hold the tradition of men, the washing of pitchers and cups, and many other such things you do.
And he said to them,
All too well you reject the commandment of God, that you may keep your tradition. For Moses said, Honor your father and your mother, and he who curses father or mother, let him be put to death. But you say, If a man says to his father or mother, Whatever profit you might have received from me is Corban, that is dedicated to the temple, and you no longer let him do anything for his father or his mother, making the word of God of no effect through your tradition, which you have handed down, and many such things you do.
And when he had called all the multitude to him, he said to them,
Hear me, everyone, and understand. There is nothing that enters a man from outside which can defile him. But the things which come out of him, those are the things that defile a man. If anyone has ears to hear, let him hear.
And when he had entered a house away from the crowd, his disciples asked him concerning the parable. So he said to them,
Are you thus without understanding also? Do you not perceive that whatever enters a man from outside cannot defile him? Because it does not enter his heart but his stomach, and is eliminated, thus purifying all foods.
And he said,
What comes out of a man, that defiles a man. For from within, out of the heart of men, proceed evil thoughts, adulteries, fornications, murders, thefts, covetousness, wickedness, deceit, licentiousness, an evil eye, blasphemy, pride, foolishness. All these evil things come from within and defile a man.
And from there he arose and went to the region of Tyre and Sidon. And he entered a house and wanted no one to know it, but he could not be hidden. For a woman whose young daughter had an unclean spirit heard about him, and she came and fell at his feet. The woman was a Greek, a Syrophoenician by birth, and she kept asking him to cast the demon out of her daughter. But Jesus said to her,
"Let the children be filled first, for it is not good to take the children's bread and throw it to the little dogs."
And she answered and said to him, "Yes, Lord, yet even the little dogs under the table eat from the children's crumbs." Then he said to her,
"For this saying go your way. The demon has gone out of your daughter."
And when she had come to her house, she found the demon gone out, and her daughter lying on the bed. And again, departing from the region of Tyre and Sidon, he came through the midst of the region of Decapolis to the Sea of Galilee. Then they brought to him one who was deaf, and had an impediment in his speech, and they begged him to put his hand on him. And he took him aside from the multitude, and put his fingers in his ears, and he spat, and touched his tongue. Then, looking up to heaven, he sighed, and said to him,
"Ephphatha," that is, "be opened."
Immediately his ears were opened, and the impediment of his tongue was loosed, and he spoke plainly. Then he commanded them that they should tell no one. But the more he commanded them, the more widely they proclaimed it. And they were astonished beyond measure, saying, "He has done all things well. He makes both the deaf to hear and the mute to speak."